Now, we're going to meet a man in perspective now who has really followed his dream as a photographer and has, used it as a way to ensure vital issues receive more attention. Gwenn Dubourthoumieu began working for NGOs in Africa before beginning to work as a photographer. Now manages to kind of combine the two at the same time. He works, yes, for companies, architects, interior designers and decorators, but also with NGOs and UN agencies on a series very passionate, exciting projects, and he joins us now on set. Thanks very much for coming in and talking to us. You started off, didn't you, in Africa, working for humanitarian NGOs, and you kind of, while you were there, became very passionate about the country. Tell us about how all that started.
Basically, I studied humanitarian assistance at university in France. My first mission was in Somalia. At that time, I decided to buy my first camera because I say, well, I'm not going to Somalia without bringing some souvenirs. And I developed a passion for photography, but also for telling stories through images. I believe I'm more confident and better telling stories with picture than with words. Mm-hmm. And a few years later, working still for NGOs specialized in demining, I had the opportunity to work in different environment where not many people go, like Sudan, North and South Sudan. At that time, it was only one country, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I basically almost fall in love with this country. I find the country, the people, and the history fascinating. So I decided to settle down as a photographer, first based in the east, in Lubumbashi, and I quickly moved to Kinshasa.
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, the way that you didn't set out to be a photographer. You sort of fell into it, if you like, and then Totally. It became such a passion for you.
Yes, basically it became a passion. It's a mixed passion between taking photographs, telling stories, and also traveling. It's very linked to telling stories. People, it's basically a way to fuel my curiosity for the world.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at some of the pictures which you've taken over the years. Absolutely beautiful pictures. And it wasn't long before you started to get, quite a lot of international recognition for the pictures that you've taken.
Yes, I basically, maybe I was lucky enough. Based in the DRC, I started to work on different environmental and social human rights issues. Mainly, I documented the work of some NGOs and the United Nations. At the same time, I developed a story about cobalt and copper extraction in East Congo, which brought me some recognition, international recognition, yes.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that project to do with the copper extraction. I mean, it sort of, highlighted a real issue that you were able to highlight through the photography.
Yes, at that time I lived, actually it was my very first project as a photographer. I was living in Lubumbashi working for an NGO, a British organization called MAG, Mines Advisory Group, and the whole city, it was like the mining boom. It was in 2008, and all the cooperation from the world, like the US, China, but also India, they were coming to Lubumbashi and Kolwezi and to renew the extraction of copper, which has collapsed in the 90s. In the 90s, the copper extraction was done by one state company called Gécamines, which collapsed at the end of the 90s because of mismanagement and also because of the war. And early 2000, the World Bank decided to open the business to international cooperation. And I was witnessing this. And basically, it did not do only goods for the people living in Lubumbashi. So I decided, because I was there, to document that.
And a lot of pictures that you're taking, looking through them as well. We saw at the beginning some of the absolutely beautiful pictures of the wildlife, but it's not all about beautiful pictures, are there? I mean, you do come across other things inevitably when you're in the middle of the forest or whatever, which are quite disturbing, and particularly pictures of animals as well.
So basically, you're talking about my last project. So last year, I went back to the Congo to document the Congo forest because I read in Le Monde, actually, just about 2 years ago, that the Congo forest has become the biggest carbon sink in the world after the ocean, but before the Amazon forest. Because I spent so much time in the Congo and I realized I didn't know this information, I found it more than interesting actually to go back to the Congo and to document this forest, which is actually the very last large tropical rainforest to actually play its role as a carbon sink.
Mm. And now it's even turned into an exhibition, hasn't it, which is on at the moment. It's at Sciences Po, and it's also been featured in a big article in Geo magazine as well.
Yes, the article in Geo magazine just was released 2 days ago, but before that, I say we because I did this reporting with the journalist and writer Guillaume Jean. We actually got many publications in the French media, like L'Obs, Marianne, Reporter different, and the last was in Geo. And yes, I wanted to also do an exhibition, especially in Sciences Po, because the idea is to raise awareness on the fact that the Congo forest should not take the path of the Brazilian forest. It is still time now to protect the Congo forest. And the exhibition in Sciences Po aims at raise awareness to the future leader of France. And I'm hoping that I will have more exhibition in different places where people can actually take the decision with power can actually know about it and
look at the pictures and react. Yeah. Why is it so important to you that the photography does that as well? I mean, it's almost using photography to influence politics, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. But as you mentioned, I started working for a humanitarian organization, so I guess I'm still a kind of militant. I'm not only for my personal project. I'm not, as I said, I'm not only taking pictures. I'm telling stories, and I'm trying to have a kind of political agenda. Beside that, also do commercial photography. But my main aim is to actually change behavior, raise awareness through photography.
So, what's the next project? Something else on the agenda?
Yes, I have a book which is going to be published 17th of May about l'entre-soi. So, as in English, will be like the self-segregation of the French upper class.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's a book written in collaboration with the sociologist Monique Pinson-Charlot.
Okay, well, keep going. Sounds like you've got a real passion for it as well. Name of the book is?
Entre-soi, le séparatisme des riches.
There you go. If you speak French, you can pick up that book very, very shortly. And the exhibition is on at Sciences Po for a couple of weeks still, isn't it? So
yes, until May the 12th.
Great. Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us on the programme today. Gwenn Dubourthoumieu, thanks very much.